Beach Boy here again. I just been walking and thinking, especially in the wintertime, there's no one here and I'm all alone out here. And Stephen gave me this old iPhone 4 of his. I actually saw it in his car. It was just sitting there. I said, hey, dude, can I, what is that? Oh, he says it's an iPhone. I said, do you want it? I said, yeah, I love it. Though, I've got like 6 of them because people leave them all the time. But anyway, I was thinking. Can't remember what I was going to say, but I was thinking something. But anyway, I sit here a lot of times out, in the wintertime all alone, just looking out there and wondering about trash. It seems like most of my days are occupied thinking about other people's shit. And thinking, how can we live on a planet where 40% of our ocean now has plastic in it? And rivers now are just, flowing with this stuff. When will people wake up and realize that enough's enough? And the problem is this. Let me explain to you the problem because I've been pondering this a long time. See, we have something called a business model. It's a centralized business model. This centralized business model basically is controlled by wealthy people. We say the 1%. They're the ones who have the money, the capital to launch basically those startups. I don't know if you know, but most startups fail. Now, there are 3 stages to the startup. There are the startups which don't have the wealthy people. They're called pre-seed. 99.9% of those fail. That's right, 99.9. Now, they also include like non-incorporated vehicles like hackathons and startup weekends and projects and, like people saying, hey, I've got an idea. And then they never even move on it because once they realize, like I did many times, I always would think about garbage. But it's like, how do I get the money? No bank's going to give me money, And then no one on Kickstarter and Indiegogo gave me money. I mean, what's up with that? Why can't Beach Boy save the beach? So, you got to think about this business model thing. There's something called externalities. I learned this from a guy who was actually used to be from Japan, and his name's Suzuki, I think. Is it Suzuki? David Suzuki or something? I can't remember. But he's a smart dude. Let me tell you, he's smart. But I didn't understand what externalities. I finally had to go ask Stephen, what's an externality? He says, well, it's just the cost of doing business there, Beach Boy. What do you mean the cost of doing business? So you're telling me that this whole climate change is just the cost of doing business? That the deforestation and the water rising and the plastic and the fracking that's polluting our water and all of this shit is just the cost of doing business? That ain't right. How can we have a business model which has built into it like fucking up the planet as a cost of doing business? I mean, you tell me. Now, you may wonder, well, how the hell did that ever happen? Well, I'll tell you how it happened. It's because the business model was built during something called the Industrial Revolution to power and to get investments for railroads and steam engines and everything else. And they had to entice people to give money. So they came up with this insane idea. Well, it wasn't insane back then because back then they never conceived that they would cut down all the trees. They never conceived that they would pollute the ocean of all things. They never conceive that all the actions combined in these externalities of just the act of doing business is going to cause climate change. It could become runaway climate change. And then the ether or the ethanol or whatever the fuck it's called up in the tundra will start melting. And then when that shit melts, it's going to go just ape shit. This compounded annual growth rate bullshit. What's up with that? So, these guys came up with this idea that there should be this exponential growth. That's like when you got 5%, then 5%, then 5%. That's compounded annual growth rate. That's exponential growth. How the fuck do you have exponential growth on a finite resource planet? It only has so much stuff, and you're saying you're going to keep taking 5%, then 5%, then 5%, then 5%. Because that shit doesn't add up. And now we're eating something like 20 planets, 30 planets. We're eating, if you've got kids, you've already devoured theirs. You've already devoured their sons. You've already devoured their grandsons. That is selfish. We need to be selfless. We need to be considering ourselves as part of nature, not separate than nature. We are part of this planet, not separate. We're not here to use the planet. We're here to exist in harmony like I do on the beach, because I'm the beach boy, and that's what I do.